Good morning all. Well, coming on from the great success of the pancake video, I thought I might have a go at showing you a bit about how I do a Sunday roast. So basically what my approach is, for instance today what we've got, let's open the oven up so you can see. We've basically got 2 chickens cooking away. Now how it works in our house, I'll just leave it with that view for the moment, is that we work on the principle it takes 2.5 hours to cook most of our joints. So how it works, a typical setup for me would be to put in the meat at 8 o'clock. At 9:30, because we eat midday-ish or 11 o'clock time sort of thing. I'll tell you anyway. So the meat goes in at 8. An hour and a half later, we put potatoes around the meat. Now we've got another 10 minutes or so before that part happens, but then so that they'll get put in, and that's for the roast potatoes. Now, as far as the chickens go, the only thing what's been added into that baking tray there where they're in is some lard. I don't know what anyone else would probably use, but we're old-fashioned. So we put 2 probably 1-inch squares of lard in there. Now with chickens you don't need that much because they usually produce their own fat, but not always, so it's always best to be safe than sorry, especially if you want your roast potatoes. So there we have it, the chickens are in, so 9:30 the roast potatoes will go in. They'll stay then in there until 10:30, so that's 2.5 hours later. No, I've got that wrong. 8, 9:30, 10. Yeah, they'll stay in there until 10:30, in which time they will be taken out and they'll be put in their own little tray, and the chickens will be taken out. They'll be put on some plates. One will be for today to eat, the other one will be left for tomorrow. Now the fat that comes out the tray will then, a little bit will be poured into the roast potatoes, which will be placed in this separate tray upside down. That's the important thing, you must turn them upside down. Add a little bit of that fat, and then basically that can then go back in to the oven for another 45 minutes. The chickens are then left for just a few minutes just to cool down a little. One will actually be put to one side for the following day, but the one what we're eating today will be then sliced up. At that particular time, so that's at the 10:30 mark, which is 2.5 hours in, the vegetables are put on, and we cook for 45 minutes. So in our case it's boiled potatoes, and a typical one is peas and carrots. Okay, I will show you as I go along, but I'll be back in a minute. Okay folks, one of the most important things of a Sunday roast is the gravy. Now the way I make it, there's 3 ingredients. You need gravy powder, Bisto, corn flour and water. Now what I actually do, I mix, let's just show you this. I have 2 tablespoons, heaped tablespoons of corn flour and 2 heaped tablespoons of Bisto. Put into a mug, dry mix. Mix it all up so it's all blended together, and that will then get added to the water approximately half an hour before the meal is finished. And I'll put it onto low heat and I'll stir it, and I'll do it until it goes to a dark brown in colour. It will start off as a light beigey colour. You know it's ready when it goes dark and it goes a bit thicker. At that point I add some of the juice from the meat, which you'll see a bit later. Okay, thanks for watching. Okay folks, it's time now to get the potatoes in around the meat. So what we're going to do, we've got a couple of, whatever they're called, I've forgotten the name. Got the chickens out. We've got nice pieces of potato cut down to a suitable size. Usually on an average potato you get between 2 and 4 of these pieces. Now I like my roast potatoes. I always kind of have anywhere between 8 and 14 with my dinners. Average on about 9 probably. So I'm going to put quite a few in here, because Mum and Dad, they just like a couple with their meal, because they eat mostly boiled. The important thing here is, when you've got your tray like this and you put your potatoes in, make sure that you put the chickens to the nearest edge to you, to allow the roast potatoes to be at the back of the oven. That way they'll cook better. It's pointless putting any round the front, they just don't cook so well. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so we've got 10 in there. We're not going to get many in here, you know. I think we're going to have to leave it at that. Just so you can see, there are all the potatoes in. Oh, the important thing is to make sure you've got your thing outwards so you can stick it back in. Also make sure that that is in the actual tray part is at the centre of the oven. And that's it. So they're in now. So it's at the 9:30 mark here, which is 2.5 hours into when you first put the meat in. No, I've got that wrong, haven't I? Sorry, I'm telling you wrong. 1.5 hours in from when you got the meat in. So the meat went in at 8. These are 9:30 roast potatoes. Next thing, an hour later, the roast potatoes will be turned over and they'll be put into their own tray. So they'll be put upside down into this, added some fat, and then this I shove that way back into the oven. The reason why it's done this way is because I need to make room for the Yorkshire puddings, which we have with most of our roasts, and that gives us the width of the oven. If that went in that way, there would be no room to put this in, and this needs to be on the middle shelf, the same as the roast potatoes. No point putting it at the bottom, there won't be enough heat. Right. So we're left with a few boiled potatoes here, not that many. I've probably not done quite enough as what I should have done. So I probably have to have maybe a couple less roast potatoes myself. And then we've got peas and carrots in the other one, and the gravy is over there waiting to be moved across. But because we've got a tiny kitchen, space is so premium. We just, there's nowhere to put anything. You can see we've got our porridge and cornflakes and everything piled up there, cakes and biscuits. Not that many there, what there normally is. But there's just nowhere to put anything. So you have to be organised in this kitchen. I suppose this is a tiny one. There's not many like this. It's a pensioner's bungalow basically, designed for 1 or maybe 2 people. Not 3 and a dog, big dog. And believe it or not, we all eat in this little room here. Got a table here for 3 and the lady lies in between our feet. Right, so that's it for this stage. I'll be back in a bit. The bloody thing disconnected. Hello all. Well, it's now time to get the chickens out of the oven. I'm going to get the roast potatoes turned over. So let's crack on. There we are, chickens are there. We need a knife and fork, which I've got out. As I said, folks, it's a struggle with space. Just making sure that the chicken is done. Giving it a poke, making sure there's no red juices or anything coming out. I know there won't be because it's been 2.5 hours. Right. Shake the juices out, because we don't want those all over the plate when we're carving it up. Coffee enough. So there's 1 chicken, that'll do for tomorrow, so I'll put that out of the way. Need to get another plate out for today's chicken. That, folks, that's all ready to be carved up shortly. We'll put that on the table. Right. So the important thing here, folks, is to turn the potatoes over and put them upside down in the tray. Oh, by the way, the chicken was in the oven at gas mark 5. I'm not sure what that is in centigrade. Fahrenheit, sorry. So they're all in there. I've put them to the end of the tray because the tray is going to be put lengthways in there. What we need to do is add a little bit of juice to it to stop them sticking and to help them cook a bit better. At this point, folks, we turn the oven up to gas mark 7. We add some juice to the water for the gravy mix. Just, what would we say? Not a great deal, maybe a couple of tablespoons. Maybe a bit more. We stick the veg on, potatoes, peas, carrots, whatever you've got on. And one thing I did forget, when I took the potatoes out, folks, earlier, I should have added a bit more water. There we are. So that's it. That's the next part done. Hello folks, I'm back again. My mum wasn't too happy about recording, but I've managed to get her to do this now. Right, so we're making a Yorkshire pudding mix. I'm not sure how many eggs. How many eggs?
2 eggs.
She's put 2 eggs in here.
The salt.
A little bit of salt, pinch of salt. Can you see that? Just a pinch. And what are we doing? Right, so we've got some plain flour here. Basically what's happening here, she's put 2 tablespoons of flour in there so far. She's giving it a good mix. And basically what we're going to do, we're creating a mix to create 4 Yorkshire puddings. Now they're not great size ones, so there's probably a smallish one to what you get in some pubs. Many people would say they are the perfect size, you know, especially elderly folk. So just beating it together, the eggs and the flour. So how do you know when the mix is right then, Mum?
If it's all smooth.
All smooth. And runny or thick?
Runny.
Runny, okay. And obviously my mum knows about quantity wise how much to make. She goes by eyesight, so I suppose that's something, if you're watching this and you've not done these, it's something you're going to have to learn. The important thing is 2 eggs, 2 tablespoons of flour, wasn't it? I don't think we put any more in, and milk. So now we're at that stage where it's going to add some milk. Just look at the container there. It's about 1.25 inches full. It's only a small bowl, I should say. You see the chicken there, folks? That's going to get carved up in a minute. Looking very good. Mum's got a smile on her face.
Just will be alright.
Yeah, that's it then, folks. So that's basically it. It's all mixed. You can see if we zoom in here, it's all very fluid, and that's all ready now to pour into the Yorkshire pudding tray, which is, sorry lady, I just trod on your tail.
Very
Which
well
is-
greased.
Oh yes, we must remember that the Yorkshire pudding tray needs to be greased well. My new method now is to put a little bit of vegetable oil in each of those 4 spots and rub it all the way around. And the most important thing is your oven has to be on 7, and you need to do that before you put them in. Okay, that's it then, folks. Okay, folks, I've got the gravy on now, and what I'm doing is, you saw me add the juices. I've added the mix what I showed you earlier. I'm stirring it. It starts off at this kind of a, what would you say, a sandy colour, a buffy colour, and then you should see that it will gradually turn to a kind of chocolate brown. And that's when you know that you've got the right, it's been in the right length of time, it's got the right consistency. Should be, you don't want it to be too runny ideally, but it's always a bit hit and miss with chicken because the juices of the chicken sometimes stops it from thickening up. But we're looking, the important thing is that chocolate brown in colour. It's a good job I'm ambidextrous in some ways, because I've just realised that you can't hold a video camcorder, can you, in your left hand. I never really thought about that before. I don't know whether you can get left-handed video camcorders, but that must be a right pain for those who are left-handed. I wonder how many other things there is that left-handed people struggle with. We've got the veggies all boiling away at the back nicely. I'll continue to stir that, and if you look at what my mum's doing, I'm just zooming in on the chicken there, she's actually picking it and distributing it on the 3 of our plates. It's all down to timing, folks. Most of it, the dinner I cook myself, but obviously the picking side of a chicken makes it more awkward. It takes that bit more time, so my mum kindly helps me with that. If it was roast beef, lamb or pork, then I'd do it all myself. Oh well. Just see, it's just starting to change now. You don't need to constantly stir it like I am, but I just don't want it to get into all congeal and that, you know, and so I'll just do the best I can. You can see the colour's just starting to darken up now. In fact, I'm not going to film this all because it can take up to about 5 minutes. But you've got the idea that it's starting to change and you're looking for a chocolate brown colour. Ideally, you need to be stirring for around 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, folks, this is how the gravy should look. It's nice and dark brown, and while I've been doing that, I've also added the Yorkshires. I've poured the mixture, it's in the oven, into those 4, so they've just got to be kind of filled up. That's all ready. The important thing is you must not now open that oven for another 30 minutes, because that's how long the Yorkshires take. And so basically when you're cooking a dinner like this, it's all down to timing. If you get those timings wrong, then everything falls to pot. And here's Lady's favourite position, folks. Look at that. She likes to help her grandma in the kitchen when she's serving up the meat for us. So we have one chicken, large chicken, feeds the three of us plus the lady. Okay folks, we've got 10 minutes to go until it's ready to be dished out. If you look inside there, you can see on the right there we've got the 4 Yorkshire puddings, which have risen nicely. The roast potatoes in there are looking brown, and they hopefully will be nice and soft. And we've got 2 stuffing bowls which are hiding on the bottom tray there, because there's nowhere to put them on the top tray. So normally they should have about 20 minutes in, but because it's on the bottom tray we make it 45 minutes. Okay, and the next step will be when we actually have it on the plates, folks. Okay folks, the dinner's now served up. There's mine, we've got 2 Yorkshire, and just got a few roast potatoes, and I've got, that's my father's over there, and we're all going to get stuck in now.